give a fuck.
Are you sure?
I just don't give a fuck.
Presenting The Art of Not Giving a Fuck with Garrett John.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the very first ever Art of Not Giving a Fuck podcast. I'm Garrett Don from Command Z and the Art of Not Giving a Fuck. I also want to welcome my longtime friend and associate, Lance Leeson, coming to you from Vancouver. Welcome, Lance.
Hello, Garrett. Happy to be here.
I'm happy to be here as well. So right away, we just want to kick things off by talking about sort of the purpose and the idea, lay a foundation for this podcast so you can know what you're getting into and you know what to expect from it over time. We're going to be delivering you poignant, hard-hitting podcasts that are full of applicable tools and experiences you can dive into right now, right in the here and now while you're listening, not later, not putting it off, to some expansion in your life, to set aside limitations and fears. Go ahead, Lance.
I think that's, it's important to try to kind of get rid of that voyeuristic mentality where we're just watching other people. Like, the conversation may be entertaining, it may be off-putting, it may be boring, but I think you get a lot more out of it when you engage yourself in. Yeah,
that's something that's always been a part of, this is what ruined most concerts for me, actually. I'll put it that way. To dive right into Storyland is, I used to love going to concerts. It was a raw, tangible, guttural experience. And it didn't even matter what the band was or the genre of music. When I was 16, 15, it was like live music. Blah, blew my mind. Absolutely blew my mind. But at some point, I started to realize, and this was due to, in fact, I read The Revolution of Everyday Life by Raoul Vaneigem and The Society of the Spectacle by Guy Debord. And the combination of those books, I won't get into the historical component of them, but just how I related to them, made me see that almost every experience that I was having with music and with going to see shows or plays or anything or movies or music at all was this producer-consumer experience. Mm-hmm. So even though the music could be different, the genre could be different, it could be a basement punk show all the way to a stadium Motley Crue show. Mm-hmm. And even though all those were fun on some level, there was a part of me that started to wake up to the fact that I was taking part in that spectacle, so to speak, on the level of a consumer and not a creative role.
Right.
What's very interesting about that is it points to a fundamental illusion, the illusion that you're a victim. Of course, this is the Victim to Adventure podcast, but the illusion that you're a victim trapped inside something and that circumstances are ruling your life and that you can't do anything about it.
And that you're not on stage with the microphone, right?
Yeah, that you're not and what we're going to wake you up to in every podcast here from a million different angles until you start having a lot of fun is the fact that you don't have to be that victim any longer. In fact, it's very easy to just take responsibility and step into the adventure of your life in a single instant.
From the metaphor of a concert is great because you can imagine being in the stands, you can imagine being in the rafters, you can imagine being on the floor. And when you're on the floor, there's a lot more engaging experience you're having. If you are doing the exercises or taking part in what we're offering here hands-on, you'll be on the floor, you'll feel the floor rumbling a little bit. And then the full-on experience is being on stage yourself and participating, actively engaging in it in your life.
Exactly. Yeah. Becoming the producer on some level and the producer and the consumer of all your experiences. So that you get to take delight in the entertainment level, but you also get to take even deeper delight and joy in the creative level, so, and the level of like, what would be even more fun, so these driving questions.
You aren't always eating, just eating. You're also, giving back in a kind of natural exchange.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the flow. I mean, that essentially is the flow right there.
So hopefully,
Giving.
for everything that you hear in our conversations, it can spark something for you to create, to for someone else to eat, rather than just eating all of our words.
Exactly. Yeah. So every episode, we'll mention things like this time now by me saying face stretching. A lot of people try out face stretching for the first time. So maybe you're listening to this and you want to know, how do I get started in the art of not giving a fuck really tangibly in my own life? Well, then I'll say face stretching. So in today's show notes, you'll see right there where this episode is posted, a link to a video where you can actually do the exercise of face stretching. You can even pause now and go ahead and do it, and then come back and listen and see if what you're listening to makes even more sense, or if your problems that you were focused on earlier make less sense. Okay, so that's the idea here. You start to have a lot more fun, and when you do that, having fun takes the place of having problems. Okay, it seems really simple, right? So that's why we're going to point it out to you every episode from a different angle. But what you'll start to realize is that there's a path to your own satisfaction from any point of experience that you're having. Speaking of points, the 2 points that underlie everything that we're talking about here, one is freedom, just the general concept of freedom and how that applies. And then number 2, and one seems to be a precursor to number 2. Number 2 is then exploration and fun. Exploration and fun. Okay, so adventure, exploration, and fun. Number 1, freedom. If you have freedom, let's say the freedom to buy a plane ticket, if that's on a tangible level, then you can go to a place and have an adventure, a number of different adventures are at your fingertips. Now, if you have the freedom just to walk around your neighborhood in a new area, now, again, adventure right there at your fingertips. But if you're sitting at home feeling bad about yourself and guilty and full of shame, or afraid of other people, afraid of situations, afraid of yourself and what you might do if you just let go, you don't have freedom, so there is no exploration. All there is walking around trying to solve your problems or complaining about your problems and embodying your problems with all kinds of tension that implies. What do you think of those 2 points, Lance? Let's just dilate on these a little bit.
So the first is freedom, and the second was exploration and fun.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I think it's important to go over perhaps some misconceptions that people have about that model that you use that I think is really effective, the victim to adventurer model, and how someone who hears you talk about that thing could deflect it and just see it as some kind of belief system that how does that impact me? As if that freedom doesn't happen right where they are right now in their own very circumstance, as if something needs to change in order for freedom to open up in your life.
Mm-hmm. That's the fundamental assumption. I guess that's a corollary, of the art of not giving a fuck. That fun is ridding yourself of the fundamental assumption that almost everyone is living under, that is the root of all politics, of all religion, of all self-development, of all seeking, is there's something wrong. The assumption that there's something very wrong, and it might be with the world, it might be with yourself, it might be with other people, whatever you're focusing that on, the underlying assumption is there's something wrong. And right now, if you look at that in your own life, you'll find, just like I found, just like Lance has found, and anyone who comes in to listen here or participate in any of this will find that there's no roots to that assumption. It's not true, and you can find out for yourself that the assumption that there's something wrong. Think of what is required for something to be wrong. I mean,
just like digesting that very concept, I can imagine that opening up just a little bit of freedom in someone, just a little bit, and of course, there's a lot of other strategies and tools that we employ to kind of break out even more. But I think that the idea that there couldn't be anything wrong with where you are is a great place to start.
And so that brings us to and we'll get into the exploration adventure level in a little bit. Anything you hear in this podcast, you're gonna end up hearing each of these points in detail on later podcasts. So don't worry too much now. Just take it all in. Let this be a seed, and then as we go on together in each new episode, you can just see how that grows, what you become interested in, what happens next, and
Yeah, and hopefully we can share some of our own experience with some of these topics and some of the adventures that led to us having greater freedom in our lives and experiencing more joy and creativity in all aspects of our lives.
Exactly, too. Yeah, that's great. And we'll also be examining common fears and common limitations. Because, of course, when we examine those, just by bringing them into your awareness in a certain way, you'll start to dissolve them. Same thing goes for tension in your body. If you take your hand right now and put it up on your neck, just feel the back of your neck and let your head relax down a little. And just focus on the sense of your hand touching your own neck while you're listening, wherever you are. And man, it just starts to relax. I mean, really, all it takes is a little bit of awareness and suddenly it starts to relax a little. And that can move down into the rest of the body. So even while you're listening to this, there you go. There's a nice little awareness trick. Take your hand, put it somewhere on your body. It activates your brain, brings you back out of your mind, right back into the actual reality where you're living. Okay, so that's another, well, let's get into the how, a little bit about the how. The cool thing is you don't have to know much about how, because one of the cool things about living the life of an adventurer is that you're always up for surprise. And surprise is always on your side. When you realize that, then new experiences abound. So how do we get there? How do we get to this life of exploration or get over the victim mentality? Well, there's a million different little tools and ways. But ultimately, one of the quick routes there is 100% self-acceptance. Now, I know that almost everyone hearing this is going to think, okay, that's easy to think about. I want that. I want to feel that in my life. So what do you think, Lance? Can you tell a story that'll translate into direct experience for these people?
You have something in mind? Do you have a nudge?
Oh, let me think. How does it apply to jiu-jitsu? Just off the top of your head.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, 100% self-acceptance is, for me, involved acting from where I was rather than any ideals I had about who I wanted to be. And as it relates to jiu-jitsu, I ran into a roadblock around blue belt where my body really started to break down. Just complete exhaustion, unable to train, unable to recover. And I had a whole belief system about how my life and history had kind of led to this point where my body falls apart when I'm 29, just, because of genetics and various things that I've gone through and sensitivities that I felt I had. So I was like, oh, this is the end of the road. So the acceptance played a role in beginning, rather than to get caught in the mind spin, to begin to just sense and feel. And the more I sense and feel, the more my breathing opened up, the less I was possessed by the ruminations of my mind and the collection of debris that circulates. So this opened up space, which improved my performance on the mat and gave me a greater understanding of the art and allowed me to flow on the mat in a greater way with greater appreciation for the art and my body. And from there, I would say this same idea or the same shift occurred to one degree or another in all aspects of my life, whether it's with work or creativity or with a woman or having a relationship. To one degree or another, the act of sensing and feeling with 100% acceptance opened up greater freedom than chasing idealized fantasies about who I'd like to be.
Well, that even leads into, from 100% self-acceptance, if we have to answer how, and right there you mentioned, you started to sense and feel more. And I recall you mentioning the moving up among the belts. And for people who aren't familiar with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, in most applications, the belts aren't awarded based on you paying for them and just demonstrating some skill solo, which happens in a lot of other belt systems. You just purchase your way up. But in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu applications, the belts are awarded based on performance, based on direct experience in the physical realm. And so to move up, that you're kind of like evolving and expanding. And since it's called the gentle art, you're actually expanding toward more and more gentleness.
Yeah, it's a fascinating tool. I found it really helpful in all aspects of life, because you're dealing with resistance and exterior force attempting to impose itself on you. So the way that you manage to flow with that and move with that and work with that with with fluidity but also force, at the same time, and relaxing into the present moment.
Well, and the victim in that circumstance, if the victim gets attacked, then it's a perfect opportunity to be devoured, to be attacked, to pretend you're a victim. And if you're, so in the jiu-jitsu circumstance, to be a victim would be like, I don't know what to do. Someone's pinned me down and oh my God, it's horrible. The victim sees only suffering, even at a high level, even making millions of dollars and traveling the world, you can still be a victim. You can still be trapped in the victim mentality. And that's where you see these rich, awesome, wealthy, supposedly successful people killing themselves, of course.
Yeah.
Is that they somehow have convinced themselves in a very powerful, seemingly tangible way that they're a victim and that there's no other option besides to quit the game entirely.
Yeah.
Whereas the adventurer can have a cut off arm, burn marks across the body, shark bite out of the other leg, and be taken in a wheelchair up Mount Everest or something, that happens.
Totally. I mean, you see both these stories, and they're both beautifully told, both stories all around you. So, it's like I see all these opportunities and that are opening up for myself, and I'm nothing but appreciative for them. And there's things that I couldn't have imagined hadn't I beginning to shift my perspective. And like I said, I'm appreciative of it, but I can also see how, like you said, there's people who have made millions and millions of dollars, but they can't appreciate it. They'll like lose their mind when their kid spills the Cheerios, So I kind of feel like I've got like the backdoor path to success here, because I'm open to opportunity. But not only that, I'm not going to go fuck it up by getting a drug problem. And, I'm able to love everything as it's coming.
Exactly. Yeah, that's just beautiful. And that's the point, is the real secret. I just wrote it in an email today. The real secret here about fun is that if you ask yourself, even if you're working a job you don't like, even if you're in situations that you think totally suck, if you just start asking yourself one question, instead of thinking about your problems, and I'm saying don't even think about your problems. Don't try to solve them. Don't try to stop anything bad from happening anymore. Let it fucking happen. See what happens. Most of the time, it's not too bad. Actually, most of the time, it's really awesome. Sometimes when you let go and things get destroyed, it opens up this entirely new realm of experience in your life. And the destruction you thought was destruction actually was just your limitations going away. And it seemed like it was going to be scary. That's the funny thing about a fear. Fear is actually the idea that something might be scary at some point, and then, but that's just when you're actually in experiences that are scary, like being on a real roller coaster, for example, that's different than fear. That's exhilaration. That's like you're on the ride. You're fully immersed. So just like even if there is an apocalypse, I've had these wonderful apocalyptic dreams where It was like the coolest thing in the world was that I wrapped this blanket around myself and had all these belongings hanging off my vest and like was walking forward knowing I'd never see what was behind me again. And I hadn't seen what's in front of me yet, you know, and it was like nothing wrong with that, you know? And so I thought, well, even in that type of circumstance, there's fun and adventure to be had. So why not right now in the midst of your daily life when there's no limitations like there might be in an apocalypse type situation? I mean, you have the grocery store, for God's sake, to eat at. I mean, you're stoked. There's nothing.
Worst case scenario is not that bad. You know?
No, exactly. So moving into this, the art of not giving a fuck, I wanted to bring up this Mentalist quote from the TV show, The Mentalist. The character Patrick Jane said it, but it's a beautiful quote, which is, if you stop seeing the world in terms of what you like and what you dislike, and saw things for what they truly are in themselves, you'll find a great deal more peace in your life. And I think that's an interesting thing to bring up, because we'll all have preferences where you think, and that's where you end up at right and wrong, and ultimately good and evil, is people making use of your prejudices and preferences. So when you become aware that your preferences and your expectations of reality don't always line up with reality, and learn to let go of that a little bit, or as Leonard Cohen said, a quote that I've thought of and felt resonating in my life for 10, 15 years was, it's when you let go of your masterpiece that then you sink into the real masterpiece. So, you know, your masterpiece is this idealized image of yourself and how life should go, where one day you'll be happy and satisfied and having fun and everything will be lined up and the numbers in your bank account will be and will be perfect. Then that day you'll be happy. But what we're saying is we're throwing all that in the trash completely. Throw it away starting right now, today, episode number 1. You throw out the trash of that idealized life of yours just for a little while. Try it out. Throw it away. And now look at what you have. Yourself right here. The primary source of data and information in your life is your direct experience right now. You spent 18 to 20 years being trained to believe in external authority, to listen to the stories other people tell you, and the books and all these things and the classes, instead of basing your life on your direct experience. So what we're saying, the shift, the massive shift that takes place, this 100% self-acceptance, is when you realize, you take your throne, so to speak, and that's what it feels like on some level, into the kingdom of your directly lived experience, which is always yours and always happening, always available, no matter what you're feeling, no matter what the circumstances appear to be. There is your perception and your body and your life right there for you to enjoy.
Which, of course, entails taking 100% responsibility for your role in all your perceived problems.
Exactly. Because without that, you're not sitting at the control panel. It's as if the scanner at the door that lets you into the control panel of your life is taking responsibility for everything. Even your arm getting cut off in a freak accident when you're 5 years old. Just going, this is my life. It's what I have right now, and I'm going to fucking live it. And then you have no limitations. You become invincible. There is no way for reality to stop you because you are reality. It is you. All of it is you. And now that's where you start to explore. That's where you become Indiana Jones. That's when you start the real fucking adventure. And it's awesome. It's all over the world. It's in the corner of your room in the dust, all the way to, here in Colombia, down to Antarctica. It doesn't matter. It's in your mind where you realize you're the adventurer.
Well, that's a pretty good launch pad. So what else is in store down the road?
So down the road, well, we're going to cover all kinds of fun stuff, and we're going to hit this from every angle, just because, you and I both, Lance, have so many different interests and so many different joyful explorations yet to be done. So we're going to bring you some short radio plays on cool topics. We're going to bring you tips on business. Coming soon, we've got some really killer interviews. And I mean really soon, the next episode after this is going to blow your mind. About business and dating and life, like things you can do that enhance and help you evolve in all those areas rapidly. So we're going to cover business. We're going to cover the art of not giving a fuck in relations and sexuality. We're going to cover it in life, seduction, in marketing, and we're going to open the doors and show you how everything in life you thought was boring and ridiculous is actually fun and profitable and enjoyable, and that you already have available to you a path into a life that you will feel satisfied with every single day forever. And so whatever seed we can plant, whatever tool happens to knock you into that, we're going to make sure that we cover that and provide it for you, either in this podcast or one down the road. So get subscribed. You can also check out the links below. You can check out some music that Lance has done. You can also check out the Command Z materials at radicalundoing.com. Get signed up at artofnotgivingafuck.com for all kinds of surprise workshops, live online experiences. We're going to just be dropping all kinds of surprise, fun experiences on from now until forever.
And like you said about the Stanhope bit, you know, if this joke's not for you, maybe the next one or the one after that will be.
Exactly. So, and if you want us to cover a specific topic, by all means, write it. Might even invite you right onto the show. So be careful
absolutely.
what you wish for.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right. Well, I think that's a good place to wrap it up. I think we've covered the foundation. Hopefully some of you guys will just leap right into the adventure right away. But if you want to wait around a while, go ahead and subscribe. You can get this right there in iTunes. And if you like it, or if you hate it, or even if you feel weird about it, go ahead and leave a review. Click that little review and rating button, and we'd love to hear from you. Anything else, Lance, before we head out?
Sounds like about it. So,
all right. Well, I'm stoked to be starting this adventure with you, and very excited to be speaking to all you folks out there, and to be I'm excited to hear about your own journey into the adventure life. So let's do this.
It's gonna be fun.
Sweet. Until next time, folks. Enjoy.
Later.
Thank you for listening to the Art of Not Giving a Fuck podcast. For more info, visit artofnotgivingafuck.com or radicalundoing.com.